in the world, and this is actually kind of CJ's guy. CJ answered this one really well. In this world, what's one thing that you would change that would make your life better, not about you, but about the world in general, within the public, that you would change that would make your life better if you had a magic wand and it's just one thing or one item or one act?
It's the first time he's ever asked this question.
I'll say for me what it is, and I would like to think that the rest of the world would benefit from that. But for me, it's always patience. And I feel like all the times that I get mad at people and get frustrated at the world, if I just took a second and put myself in their shoes or think about what day they might have had or think about me on my worst day, then usually I find a little more patience in me and can swallow that.
Do you ever have those days where you're the other one with no patience?
Oh, yeah. Well, I feel like some days I use up all my patience during the workday. And I feel horrible because I get home and the people that I love don't get the best.
You're like, I can't find my screwdriver. Where's my screwdriver?
Yeah.
Right? And
they're just like, what is this crap?
It's a great song.
All right. Feels good.
Nice.
That was way off, right?
He was like, yeah, we're over here listening to Young Dolph. So I sent him 2 of like my, current favorite songs. And, he decides to fucking blast the speakers. I can hear it from my house. I'm surprised you didn't hear it. And like, I got the kids, like, it's what, like 10 o'clock? And like the kids are in fucking bed. I'm like, Dan, what are you doing?
Stop being an ass.
He was doing it
just like the goddamn boat engine out in the backyard.
He was doing it.
I know. Are we still doing Raphael's suggestion of Dan introducing everyone?
No. I want Nick to introduce everyone today.
Okay. So, welcome back to the I've Been Tasked With podcast. This is your returning host who's missed the last week due to traveling for work. I am joined in podcast today with Dan, the other co-host.
What's up?
And we also have the co-host CJ.
Fabulous.
And the returning featured guest Connor.
I would say
Snowden.
champ, but that's
Champ Snowden.
you forgot
What?
Nick. You forgot a person.
And that cunt buddy.
Oh, hold on. I'll introduce him. Additionally, we also have Raphael in studio today. Hello, everybody.
Christ.
And,
You hate Raphael.
Hey, Raphael hates it.
Raphael, Raphael, how was your weekend? Oh, I drank and I fell down. Oh, that's a good story, dude.
That was actually Nick's story.
I probably.
Raphael doesn't drink. He's
You know what?
He's a quitter.
That's crazy because he definitely presents like someone who drinks.
he sounds
He's someone who drank.
That's fair.
I was gonna have Raphael. I want you guys. I want Nick's take on this. Raphael wants to have a title on the podcast. He wants to be a part of it. So I was thinking janitor.
Nice,
right?
The cleanup crew.
Well, he sounds like he's been huffing floor stripper in a janitor's closet.
The good stuff.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Okay, give me another option. If I came up with janitor, that's mine.
Can I impose something? I'm totally fine with the title, but I think that the duties should come along with it as well. If you can vacuum,
he actually has helped me with some things. Everybody.
He's mowed.
Yeah, he mowed. I was going to call him Jose.
Jose.
Yeah,
that's a good name too.
But I did text him, "You're not coming today."
Oh,
whose fucking Xbox is that?
It's mine.
I told you it would turn into Xbox if you could see it. I was like, it's going to turn into Xbox talk.
I looked over and I was like, Dan doesn't fucking play video games. Is that Lauren's?
It's mine. I actually have hundreds of games that I never play, and then I have hundreds of games that I've never played ever. But I have them all on the Xbox and everything else. I'm gonna give it to my buddy's son. So I thought I'd bring it up. I actually also have a Xbox 360, but I plugged it in, wanted to make sure it was working. And I really like the guitar with this. This is nice.
Let me hit the button.
Sounds like we're on like a trail, just like looking over at each other.
We want that. We want that, Neil. And it's
that's perfect. That's great. Tons of. Anyway, so back to Raphael.
Oh, come on.
Look, It's not that I don't like the guy. I just don't suffer fools well, and he's just he's too
Neil.
much sometimes.
So, Neil, we have just clear your head. We got Connor, CJ, Nick, and Dan. We have Buddy in studio. Neil is a guitar player from Baltimore. We love bringing people from Baltimore on the podcast. We have listeners in, I would say, 9 or 10 different countries. We just got Brazil and Algeria. So if I said
it is kind of wild the amount of
the stuff that the
places
spread
you see.
Yeah.
And the
Washington,
growth.
DC.
I would also say the growth of the podcast. Who would you say is all in studio today?
What are you fucking talking about?
Hold on, should we say the name of the podcast?
I'm not even doing drugs. Oh yeah, Neil, what podcast are you on?
I've been tasked with being on the I've been tasked with podcast.
Yes, you have.
Nice.
Yes, you have.
Yes, sir.
And you made it. Neil is a local.
Did
He's
it
been-
right the first time. Way to go.
Like a professional. Jinx.
So how do you know Neil, CJ?
I've known Neil since about 2005 or 6.
Yeah.
He was in a band that a friend of mine was in named Lyle, and I really enjoyed that band. So I got to hang out with the band
You've been
and
cheating on me? You've been in a different band.
became friends with them.
You were my first,
That's true.
but not my last.
I like
You
it.
always remember your
There's been a
first.
lot in between, I'm sure.
Neil and I were. There has been. I'm sure we've both been slutting around
There's
with
a
different bands.
there's a chance for a reconnection here, guys.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I'd see as once we get to our age of I'm a drummer and he's a guitar player, we can easily do good music as much as we want. There's a level of like you meet other musicians, you're not even into like maybe we should play together because it's like it's almost like I'm
that
sure
time has passed.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't passed, but like if it's going to happen, we don't have to force it. It'll be like, well, what are we going to do today?
You
Let's play
just
some
look at
music.
each other, say brown-eyed girl, and nod and go.
I mean,
Nice time.
I don't know about you, Neil, but I show up with bands and I don't even go to rehearsals or practices. I show up and we play music on stage and we get paid for it. That's the gig.
I've had many gigs like that. I've also been fortunate to have gigs that require me to learn songs that are completely out of my wheelhouse.
really
And
cool.
Oh yeah, they're like, can you play "Revolution Is My Name" by Pantera?
I can't right now, but I could learn it. I love
sure
that
it would
song.
take-
It's a good one.
It's all that stuff. It takes hours and hours and hours. So I can't imagine being a guitar player. I just hit stuff. Hey, have you ever edited a podcast before?
Thank God, no.
You want to?
No.
I would.
If I've learned anything in my career, editing is not a job I want to take on.
It sucks ass.
He's asked me to help once or twice, and I sat there while he
I
talked at
bought
me
a
for a
MacBook
while.
for editing. And,
That's about it.
I tried it and I didn't understand it. Now my MacBook's for work.
Dan's the smart guy here. He's got it down.
I mean, I feel like when like you play instruments and shit like that, you're slightly autistic. So like you're able to like, look at things, recognize patterns and
I feel like everybody's been saying they're autistic lately, though. Everybody says they have a touch of the tism lately. I see people and they're like, "Sorry, I dropped something," and they're like,
touch of the tip.
"That's what they've been
I'm
saying."
not-
I
I'm not
swear to God,
delete it. I'm letting you
not.
say it. I just
That's
don't
what
think
you-
It's
what the kids
it's
are
on
saying.
TikTok. Yeah, it's like it's everywhere. A touch of the. They're like they drop something. They're like, "Oh, I got a touch of the tism. I'm so sorry." And it's
Wow,
like
I've never heard of that.
I'm like I don't think that
Neil, do you have a
autism
touch
makes
of
you.
autism?
Sorry,
There's a lot of hesitation.
I totally hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I have a teenage daughter, and there's a thing now that I guess because there's more awareness of the whole autism spectrum, that people are more inclined to associate normal behaviors with those behaviors. And
It's the spectrum is really more sensitive now.
well, it's funny because I think at the same time it represents understanding, and it also kind of represents
Misdiagnosis, is
well,
in my opinion.
not even that, but it's disrespect to those that have those
are
afflictions.
that are heavily afflicted by it.
Maybe even affliction is the wrong word.
It's actually kind of a superpower sometimes, but
exactly people that are that way.
I have a
guess
friend.
would be-
Work that way.
I think-
we
Yeah.
always get back to the doc. Me and my buddy with autism. Like he knows exactly where that doc is when we're out on the boat. He's the best guy to bring out. That's a superpower.
Right on. Born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland.
What area? Perry Hall.
Perry Hall was traditionally. We now live in Glenarm, which is not very far.
Loch Raven.
Yeah, that area. Very close to my family. We got really good family. Every person.
Tiny house. That way you're so close, right? You have a little shed.
We're packed in there like Willy Wonka.
It's a comedy podcast.
Charlie's family. We all share a bed.
Cabbage water again.
Four parents, four grandparents.
It's good. We save money on sheets and laundry. Just
I'm
'cause
tired
You don't have to heat it
Cabbage
when you have so many people living in there. 'Cause
That's
it's
a good
just-
point. Uncle Joe's farts warm it up real nice. But
Gives it a nice ambiance.
Keep going with Willy Wonka. I like it.
so I have played music since I was a wee lad. My friend Dan here was
Hey.
my first bandmate.
We played a talent show in middle school.
We did. First and last time I sang lead in front of people.
And
What was the
really, it
song?
your last. I was your first and your last.
Singing. I felt great about playing
Singing.
the guitar on that song.
Very
but,
clearly said. Too.
Never tried it again after you.
No, it was bad. And I realize that now.
Did that
I
put
realized
you
it
off from
immediately
trying it
afterwards.
again?
What song was it?
Weezer's Saying It Ain't So.
Say it ain't so.
It's a great song.
All right. Feels good.
Nice. nice.
Way off, right? That was a hard song to sing too. He goes way up there.
The best.
Sounds great. So you had the voice for it. You had the range because you were in middle school.
That's a good point. They hadn't dropped yet. So
That's right.
I could get up there.
It sounded great from where I was.
Well, thank you.
I was
I'll tell
behind
you.
you, as a drummer, but
So what was really cool about that whole experience is your dad and that whole studio setup.
oh, my father.
Yeah.
My father's a professional musician.
Well, and it was really cool being such a young kid, and like I think I'm going over to jam with some other young
Yeah,
friend.
Aerosmith, basically. It was like he had everything that you could ever want, and there was a studio with drums and a piano. And
Yeah.
all
So that's
that.
why you hung out with Dan.
Well, he was,
I mean,
a great drummer and good friend, but that helped.
I was-
cool situation.
The toys draw you in.
I will say I had a draw within the fact that I was an amazing drummer in middle school for my age. I mean, I was an anomaly. So like you would hear other drummers, and they were like,
He's so humble too.
Like,
very distinct memory from that studio when we were kids and we
"Did
would
you
be
touch
jamming.
the speaker tweeter?" There was a tweeter, and it was always like nobody can touch the tweeter. My brother or somebody touched it.
Nah.
It destroys $180.
Bounce or put the finger poke
Uh-huh,
right in it.
uh-huh.
I did that to one of my dad's speakers. Totally. I was all like, "Oh shit!"
It was the only rule. The only rule was do not touch the tweeter and the speakers.
So I had just got a new guitar, and I had saved up every dollar I had made from working at Heavenly Ham and cleaning my uncle's bar on Route 40 on Sunday mornings. And I spent $1,250 on a Gibson Les Paul Studio, specifically a Gem series with P90 pickups and a special purple paint
Never
job.
forget all
Nice.
that shit.
Never. And actually, the guy that sold it to me was Ronnie. He played in a local band called Never Never.
Oh, never.
Sure, you guys heard them. They do
Yeah.
the best Zeppelin you ever
I think
heard.
they're still
Yeah,
playing
oh, I love
to
the
this
Baltimore
day.
came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gordon Miller Music down there in Orchard Tree Lane,
Gordon Miller, I
right
remember
near
a
your
lot of
old
good
house.
stuff.
So anyway,
yeah, never would play the nights that we weren't playing. So like they would play Tuesdays, we would play Thursdays.
At the barn.
Yeah, all the, at the barn a lot, and
probably Putty Hill
Padonia
Station.
Padonia Station or whatever it's
Oh,
called.
yeah.
Yeah, Padonia something.
So the first time I ever took this guitar out of the house to play it with people in your studio, and I take my hands off the guitar to put on headphones, and the strap lets go.
Oh,
and the
no.
headstock immediately goes down and nails a keyboard stand. And nice little chunk of wood taken out of the headstock.
That's all right.
I'm about 14, 15 years old.
Did you cry?
I wanted to. I
Was
wouldn't
I
and couldn't.
I don't remember that at all. Was I in the room?
You were there. Everyone was like, ooh, ow. And I looked, I was like, yeah, that's first battle scar. And we played and everything was fine.
Yeah, we had a bass player. I'm guessing. I don't remember anybody but Neil in that band.
I feel like it could have been my friend Greg that I went to school
Yeah,
with.
I don't remember.
either,
Isn't that
yeah.
weird? Like
I-
you play
Were
a
you-
monthly show.
Wait,
right?
wait. Where are you playing at?
So I'm currently playing in two different projects. One project is with my friend Ben, who's in a bluegrass band called the Dirty Grass Players. They're an
Like
amazing
that.
band. You guys should go check them out. But
You clean them up.
No, they stay dirty.
they stay
I
dirty,
stay
and
dirty.
that's their appeal.
It's very good stuff. I've definitely seen
Yeah,
them
I'm
a
trying to
couple
make it
times.
memorable. The dirty grass
Players.
players.
Not diddlers, players.
Nice.
But anyway, he's putting together a group of friends from other bands, and we're going to play an evening of amazing jazz, rock, fusion music at the 8x10 on November 8th. And we're going to be billed as Ben and his super friends. I also play in a local R&B group called Cultural Groove. Our next gig will be November 16th at Mickey's Joint. And we do normally play a monthly gig there. So
Where's Mickey's Joint?
Mickey's Joint is a fabulous neighborhood
In
bar
the USA?
in the wonderful, luxurious neighborhood of Hamilton, Maryland.
That's in Baltimore also.
It is. It's on Harford Road. Really cool, really good neighborhood spot. You know, good
How much do I
food.
need to save up to get into it?
I was just gonna say it's very affordable as far as food and drink. Kind of place where they don't really have servers. You just order everything at the bar. They give you a number. You sit at your table, and yeah, cool,
Very
cool
nice.
vibes.
I like
Chill
it.
Are
place.
there hot chicks there? I have a girlfriend. I'm just talking for all the listeners.
I'm married as well. Honestly, the most attractive person you'll see there every time is Warren.
I thought you were going to say your wife. That would've been
Nice.
the-
Nice.
I mean,
You'll know Warren when you see him.
I'm not trying to advertise my wife to anyone else.
Yeah,
so.
no.
I had a line for that if you did. I was going to. Anyway.
What was the line?
I was going to say, I can't wait to meet her, but I can't but
Connor's the young,
I had it on tap. That's why I thought you were going with
the
it. too.
young thief.
No, I would never.
Nick's a married man as well. He has. You'll hear his wife on the podcast as her Kate on podcast 2 and podcast 4.
Yeah, sometimes we abduct her and bring her over.
And Neil already knows my wife, but
Wow.
because since the same time, so we've been together that fucking long.
Do any of you guys have children?
Yeah, I have 2 daughters.
I'm married into 3. I don't have any of my own.
Well,
Connor
you
has been
you have three, that
yes.
counts.
Nobody called Connor
Well, I
yet,
mean,
but
yeah,
that's going to
I-
happen.
No, I don't have any that I know of.
And I am child free.
Yes. And you have how many?
Just one. I have
Just
a
one?
teenage daughter. He's a senior in high school this year.
Oh, that's crazy. She driving.
She's got her learners.
Driving
in the
him
next
crazy.
couple weeks, she's going to be doing her required, driver's ed driving time. So yeah, the goal is to get her license before the end of this year. So I'm sick of driving her around.
So, are you into sports?
Yeah, I'm a home.
Don't fake it. You're a
No,
musician.
no.
Come on.
I'm into sports.
I went over your house
What
once to watch the football game, and we just were like chit-chatting, and there was no football watching.
that's
The game's on.
first thing first. If the Ravens were on, we would not be talking.
I
I
mean,
would
we,
be
Nice.
this is,
pausing the game if you're
this
trying to
was,
talk.
we were
'cause
still in middle school at this point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't remember you coming over my house recently. I don't
Were
know
there
what I was
even
thinking.
Ravens when y'all were in middle school?
No, I don't think so. We were
Yeah.
Colts or something.
No,
It would've been-
it was
we would've had no
83 to
team.
95. There were no football team.
Okay. Yeah, it was like that was the Super Bowl.
Wait, why is that?
It was the Super Bowl.
The
that
Colts left. We didn't get the Ravens until 1995.
I wasn't allowed to hang around.
96 was the first game.
We didn't get the Browns until 96.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I-
We didn't get the Browns. We got the Ravens.
I hate getting
The Browns got another team. They're still the Browns.
And they still have all of their awful history with them.
absolutely.
We have no affiliation with them. We got new players when we came through.
I had the Browns last week.
Oh, bro. So CJ has
Did you tear an
That's too good.
ACL?
That's
No, he got drafted high and
Don't blow your-
underwhelmed everyone.
Don't blow your O-ring
nice.
out. So CJ has turned into our. He used to be our sports guy, and he's turned into our music consultant, basically, and trivia
Music
expert.
consultant.
He is. He's very versatile.
He's a renaissance.
And he
I've brought
shows up
other
every-
guitar players.
Yeah, and he
so.
shows up for all the episodes too. And right, Nick?
Yeah. He's missed
I've definitely missed
a
my
lot less
share.
than I have.
I've missed my share.
I've never missed a
wish
single
I could
one.
I
miss
go
an
on,
episode.
I go on vacation.
Why can I miss an episode?
Well, you do miss an episode. We just don't put one out when you do that.
That's true.
I should do that more often.
You got all the cool gadgets, man. Just like when
You
when
guys-
Neil was hanging out at your place.
One episode is just going to be Dan recording himself in different voices and being like, Connor's in studio. And it's going to be like, I'm Connor. Or do a Connor impression.
Hey, I'm Connor. Ho
He
ho.
always
That's
does
my
that.
Dan impression. That's exactly what I do.
I don't think he'd need to impersonate anyone. Just trying to follow Dan's thoughts for an hour would be
It's a mess. You
an
should try being
interesting
me.
exercise.
You should try being me. It's just like there's the channels are flipping, and you're interested in those, and then more channels are showing up ahead of them, and it's really hard to explain.
I've had somebody explain to me it's like having a computer open and having multiple tabs that you're just constantly cycling through.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a great way of saying
You
it.
want to
Sounds
do
like work.
You want to do everything so detailed, and you get grabbed into something, but you don't have the time to do it because there's something else that's more important. And then you get upset because that thing that you wanted, like I really wanted to do I'm at work today and I really wanted to do something for my boat. And I'm like, it was killing me. And I was focused in my head that I can't touch it. I can't do it. And I didn't touch it till after 3:30, and I started doing stuff on my boat for like a half hour.
He was doing stuff on his boat till like 9:30 last night. I came outside. He was like, "Come look what I'm doing at my boat."
Yeah. Neil saw the boat.
How
all
was your
messed up.
Chinese food? How was your sushi?
Didn't get it because the Lucky Inn closes at 10, and we did not want to be the 9:40.
Do you know what the 940 sushi?
I don't want the poo poo platter that they were going to put on my platter. We were going to get sushi, and we ended up getting. We ended up going to her house and just eating like pineapples and stuff.
Well,
I feel like sushi
Tasty.
is the one thing that you can order close to closing time. They don't have to like fire
They
the
have to
grill back
prepare it.
on. Well, yeah, they have to prepare it, but it's not like they're turning the fryer back on. Or
It's usually like whenever I walk
you're
into
not going to be pissed when it comes out raw.
I said just go there and just ask for whatever's left, and then he said he's getting sushi, and I said maybe not. Then it's like that's kind of a bad move.
Well, we got a new bed last night. We got a new bed delivered during the day. Connor was there to get it.
That's right. We slept in it together.
I
It
want
was
to hear
great.
more about this. We bought a new bed recently too, so
Okay,
I'm curious about hearing your experience.
We were going to go. Our budget was just whatever felt good.
It's like going in and buying a car. You're like, whatever you say.
Basically.
Mattress buying is an art.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I do feel like though that is one thing you should go for more based on how you like it than
yeah.
necessarily maybe what your budget is. I mean, obviously your budget dictates everything.
But it's worth an extra couple hundred if you're really feeling it.
We went into every single place that we could find. Bob's Furnitures. We went into discounted mattress warehouse. We went into wherever they sell IKEA, which was horse crap. Why even walk in there? And we laid on every bed that we felt it was worthy of being laying on. And every store we ended up at the same bed.
What bed was it?
It was there was a Sealy Posturepedic hybrid coil and memory foam.
Okay,
I think it was like $2,800 for just the mattress.
fair price.
Yeah.
I last time I got one, I got Stearns and Foster. It was very nice.
You did suggest that.
That was $3,000 about 10 years ago, so I bet they're a bit more now.
That's what we just got.
And
And it's similar to what he got as far as like coil spring plus memory foam.
Yeah, the coils were on the
combo.
outside of the bed.
And adjusted for inflation.
around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this time that we sprung for the adjustable base.
Oh, you did.
Nice.
Holy hell.
You
Moneybags.
lifted up to watch TV
yeah,
in bed.
It's great.
We
It's-
used that in the store and went, we're not buying this. This is nice, but we don't need this. I mean, I feel like you're in bed too long if you're using that for like the way we live our lifestyle.
Bed's good though.
Yeah, but like
for us, it's a solution to a problem as far as like our TV in our bedrooms mounted.
But, like, it will
6
get in the
inches
way-
lower than it should be.
it will
Oh,
get
so
in
if
the
you're
way
laying
of
down, you cut the bottom off of it.
what do you do when the harness like comes down and swings? Like we have a pulley up there, and then hooks. Doesn't the bed get in the way with the
Sex swing.
yeah?
It's adjustable.
I
You can
know.
adjust it
I
down.
know, I'm trying to make a good joke there.
No, but I mean, sorry, like everybody that has a sex swing knows it goes in the gimp cave.
That's right.
It's not in your bedroom.
It's not in the bedroom.
Right. Like you don't want people coming in your room and seeing that someone
That's great.
wrapped in leather
Gimp,
and latex.
gimp cave.
That's
Are
what
You taking notes, Connor? You've never said those
Got to
words.
pull the kitchen
Gimp cave?
floor up to
I've
get
never
down
been able
there.
to afford a gimp cave. I can only afford a shack. I call it a
Jack Shack.
No,
Jack
That's
Shack.
right.
And that was another Tarantino, a really subdued Tarantino reference. If I ever caught
The
that.
Gimp Cave. Oh,
That's
yeah.
good. I like that.
Go and get them.
Are you okay, man?
Get the Gimp.
I'm very fucking far from it.
It's Tarantino Thursday right now.
I can tell you don't sing. You know how I can tell?
Because I don't
You
get
don't
up
know how
on
to
the
use
mic.
the fucking microphone. No, you're doing fine.
He does this to everyone.
No, that's good. It's just, you know,
It's just too
he's doing good.
I'm always afraid I'm interrupting. That's why.
I actually like to talk far away from the mic.
Oh my God.
Right.
just to piss him off.
I almost threw Connor out of the house once. He would not put his headphones on. I deleted the episode, the whole thing. I pulled a.
I didn't even get to listen to it.
Oh, it's a pretty good episode too.
I know. Like I
We had
know
fun.
it was good
We
because
had fun.
he had to delete the whole thing.
I
So are
didn't
your
delete it. Okay, so the email address that we have is I've been tasked with @gmail.com. If anybody hates us, loves us, they just want to just give us hate mail, send it to Connor at I've been tasked with @gmail.com.
I'll respond in turn with a dick pic and or
It'll be mine.
You're gonna get a lot of hate mail, Dan.
I kind of want some. So there's also a link that you could donate to the podcast on there. I donated to our podcast. I sent $3 in. I used my credit card, and it was like a 23-cent fee just to see what happens. I can't find the $3. Buzzsprout, where is my $3 that I paid myself?
Did they take that $3 off
was
your
off my
bill?
bill.
Off your bill?
No, maybe. Oh, good
But
point.
you wouldn't know because you paid it. You have to ask maybe Connor here to try paying it and see what happens.
he needs an accountant.
It came off my credit card statement.
I'm always happy to be anybody's personal accountant. Please give me all your information, credit card information, debit information, banking statements, things like that, and I'll take care of all your
What'd you
banking
say?
needs.
Release
And
all
don't
of your
forget the
stuff?
3-digit code on the back of the card.
and social security number.
It's for your security, actually.
Yeah.
CVV. What does it mean to you, Neil and Nick and CJ and Connor, to be a man? What do you need to survive in Baltimore, to be a man and to thrive, not turn into the heroin addicts that we see that we drive past, and not, be in the ghettos and stuff? What does it take?
Mind your fucking business. That's really about it. If
I think I agree with Nick here.
Yeah. Actually, I think everybody should know a few things. Like everybody should know how to cook for themselves, at least one single person meals. Everybody should be able to kind of defend themselves a little bit. Like people should know how to fight a little bit.
Brass knuckles.
I mean, I guess if that's what you feel comfortable carrying
Somebody
around.
did.
Butterfly
one of the
knife.
answers I got on my random surveys was protect yourself.
Yeah.
You know, whether that's a gun or
Well, I feel everybody should know how to protect themselves. That's
To
not
jump
just-
in on this topic, I'm personally a pacifist. I don't believe in fighting, but living in Baltimore, you do have to have situational awareness and just kind
gotta
of
know what's around you.
understand what's
Yeah.
around you and kind of how
they
to.
jump out.
It's a matter of where you are and what situation you're in and who you're hanging out with.
exactly.
It runs the gambit of being a cool artist town with a lot of creative types and really cool places where you can do that.
Happening late at night.
Yeah, to
well,
also be in a a bougie town where young people with money can go out and have fun and stuff, and then there's also The Wire. All those things.
Don't expect to go to West Baltimore at 2 a.m. and have a great time walking through the streets.
Not us.
Yeah.
no, it's not for us.
Not even, nobody. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. I
think that's what it comes down to.
That's also like it is true, but in some cases, I'm sure it's an unfair characterization. There's some great neighborhoods on the west side, and I guess with that too, it's like in any spot of Baltimore, you can be in a really nice neighborhood and go 1 or 2 blocks too far, and you find yourself in unfamiliar territory.
Yeah, but all of Washington, D.C. is garbage, though. Doesn't matter where you are.
So one time I was in
It is
D.C.
it is a trash
and I was,
bag.
and
I wish I
and was
could
crossing the
argue
street.
against
When you
you.
bring in DC,
Yeah,
You just said
exactly.
DC.
no, we actually have half of the listeners, most of the bulk, half of them are Washington D.C.
They're probably transplants from Maryland. They hate it there
Yeah.
too.
I mean, Baltimore's identity too is kind of like the younger stepbrother to DC, Philadelphia.
They don't always have that accent that we got down here.
Oh well,
The Dunkin' Donuts are everywhere, and you could just go get coffee and talk to all the homeless people you want to talk to.
I feel like Philly does have a pretty good accent. That's close to the Baltimore, but it's ours
different.
is just a little bit more backwater.
Ours is more about the vowels. It's about the O's. Theirs is a little more guttural.
Yeah.
You know, used to, in you didn't.
And then you get Essex and Dundalk, where then Yins guys and use guys.
Have you-
Yins is
The Yinzers are
Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
Have you ever heard someone like deep on the Eastern Shore, like Tangiers Island, Smith Island?
like have a different language type of people?
Yeah,
Louisiana.
it is. It's almost like Southern meets that East Baltimore accent all together, and it's weird.
It's a weird. The Smith Island and all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then there's only like 30 people on Smith Island.
But they make a great cake.
Like lemon.
Well, it's just
called
layers.
It's a Smith Island cake.
It says lemon cake. It's
I've
Well, it's
never
not
had
always,
it be
it's not always
cake.
lemon. It has more to do with the layers. It's like 7 or 8 layers
Plus
of
the
cake
algae.
and icing.
the algae that's just in the air. It's Smith Island. It's an island.
Oh, no.
It's in the name. Yeah.
Disappearing into the bay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring up that falsehood of climate change.
Well, I just was thinking about the Key Bridge falling into the bay.
That probably raised
what
the
I thought.
water up
Yeah.
even more.
Yeah.
You know?
9/11.
Fucking
Dude, just
Obama.
imagine being on that bridge working, doing some shit.
Dude,
It was
that-
assassination of just those 6 workers. That's what
Oh.
it was.
Whatever it was, but just imagine what it's like. You're on your evening shift, and all of a sudden you're airborne going into cold water.
and not even.
They
It's
were
like
on
you're
break.
on lunch too. It's
Yeah,
like
they
you're
were on
just
break.
chowing on your sandwich or
That was
whatever.
the worst time.
you
I'd
know?
rather be working.
Well, that's me.
I'd rather have my mind
Die on the
occupied.
clock. Yeah.
I'm happiest when I'm eating.
Yeah,
So I would
absolutely.
go from like my
Like, well,
happiest
I
I
had an
get all
Oreo
day
cookie,
to the
you
worst
know?
ever.
Well,
You,
when
you
would
wonder, would you take another bite on the way down? It's my last chance.
If the food gets wet, you still eat it. Those poor guys. And it was sad. They all had
It absolutely
families.
was sad. Absolutely. I shouldn't be making
Yeah, it
jokes.
was cold as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, hypothermia.
That was
or
in
something.
March, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever think like weird thoughts go through your head as you're plummeting to your death? Like, I forgot to switch over the laundry.
Honestly, it's
My
really,
wife's gonna kill me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
you know, I think it's hard for the families because it's hard to keep living after the tragedy. One of my friends actually died at the Boston bombing.
Oh,
During the
shit.
marathon. Yeah, he finished first, second, and third. It's crazy.
Connor and his jokes.
The setup is worth it.
Connor, what was your DC story?
Oh, thank you. So I'm crossing the street in DC, and there's a woman with me and everything else. I remember we're crossing the street, and there's this guy walking by, and there's a bunch of people, but he's shirtless. He's this really tall, like drunk-looking homeless guy. I mean, drunk is like just pejorative, but he was screaming a lot, and I remember he kind of screamed kind of in that direction, and it kind of felt like she felt like it was at her, and so like I kind of noticed that, right? And so then we crossed the street, and then I yelled back at him. I waited until we were like, "Oh, sorry."
Oh, there you are.
I thought you were jerking off and like an invisible dick over there. I didn't
Why did I
realize you
get
wanted me to
upset?
pull it closer.
So you saw a homeless guy yelling at the road?
No, he was kind of yelling at us, but it was, you know her, but she got really kind of upset that like, oh, you didn't say anything. So I waited and I fucking yelled something from across the street. I remember he yelled back and I was like, let's get the fuck out of here. I'm like, sometimes you just got to avoid people, right? There's no fighting. I remember at that moment, I was like, I don't really want to fight a homeless person. And I think that that's kind of my stance every day, right? But if you ever needed to fight a homeless person, it's good to know how to fight because homeless people fight for keeps because they have nothing to lose.
That's true, but I agree with you. But I'm kind of with Neil here. I'd rather not fight anybody any day. Like
Yeah, I would say
Nobody
just kill
wants
me.
the goal
It's
is
fine.
to not get into a
Just
fight.
kill me. I
just
don't wanna
about
get-
every day.
Nobody wants to fight.
I think it's funny that the guy being drunk was the pejorative and not being unhoused.
Yeah, that poor guy.
But if I've learned anything, my grandpappy told me a long time ago, when there's a bum screaming, you don't engage.
Never.
I've walked past it. If you guys are listening to this podcast and you know who I'm speaking of, I do want you to email us. I've been tasked with podcast@gmail.com. There was a man on Fleet Street and Boston, I think it was, Boston and Fleet. And every morning, because I did the route for Ecolab or whatever, and I would pass by or get the coffee. He was sitting on the curb and he would yell at the road, screaming to the point where, like, if you and I, anybody would do this, our voices would be hoarse in 4 minutes. And he would scream for 3-4 hours a day. And then one day he just was not there. It was like 3 years of watching this man scream at the road, and everyone just went about their business. That's what he does. And you don't engage.
Right.
You just keep going.
What are you going to do?
It's not to do anything. Some people want to help and say, "Hey, are you all right?" Or
He doesn't want help.
he doesn't. Yeah, I mean that was Baltimore, and it's every 3 or 4 blocks there's an activity like that happening in Baltimore, and it changes randomly.
I would say yes and no, because since they decided to be retarded and want to close down one of the lanes on 695 northbound during the day, not at night.
They should be shot.
Yeah, they should be executed.
Whoever they are,
publicly.
CJ's State
Yeah,
Highway.
Yeah, fuck you guys.
I'm not on operations.
Anyhow.
Stay out of this.
Yeah, why the fuck would you do it during the day and not at night? That is so
Wait,
goddamn
I
stupid.
only drive at night, so
You know,
I prefer that it's during the
See,
day.
I drive at night to go to work, but when I get off, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So
And they're
it's
like doing chiseling on the side. You're like, get the
Yeah.
fuck off
Nick,
the road.
I don't care what time you get off. I care what time you're on the road. All right, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to you.
But with GPS, like to go home, it would say it would take about 57 minutes taking 695 going around.
57
It doesn't
minutes.
even give me the fucking option now.
It doesn't even.
Really?
It's just
Yeah.
to just go through the city.
It does, and it's 59 minutes to go through the city. So I've been having to do that shit every day.
It
Instead
took me
of,
an hour and
the
10
reason,
minutes to go 22 minutes.
And the reason I'm doing that is because it's
Today.
like 51 minutes to go through like the toll, and it's like, why the fuck would I pay $6 just to spare 6 minutes of time? I'm only going one way.
Let's talk about toll roads for a second here, because I have a lot of feelings on this comment.
Well, you come from a state and really a whole area that doesn't do toll roads.
Yes,
Is that
Arizona.
correct?
Connor will
Arizona.
drive 2 hours to avoid
Alabama,
a
too.
$3 toll. He'll do it on a non
Arizona.
But yeah, I will avoid a toll. I will always avoid a toll. I hate tolls.
I felt like if they had tolls in Arizona, people would just avoid the whole state.
Yeah, well, I mean, people do avoid it. It's too hot down there.
Speaking of tolls, I saw this morning. It is a license plate upside down. My guess
Nice.
is that
Ooh.
that's their way of getting out of tolls. But
You'd
the
have
funny
to test
thing is,
that theory out. CJ,
I
can you
really
figure that
want
out?
to.
I might be able to ask that
Yeah,
question.
I
ask
think
that.
you can make your numbers look a little bit different.
I
on
spray painted
That's
my
the
license
thing
plate.
is, it kind of
That's
looks like
ridiculous.
an L8. The
haven't
4
gotten
is
a
the
red
really
light
only
ticket.
incriminating one.
How many red lights
that.
are you driving through?
I am flying. I go past 6 to 9. I don't mean to over talk. I go past 6 to 9 speeding light things that they're like, you can't go over 30, and you're trying to get through the city because everything else is clogged up and it's an hour and 15-minute drive. You want to go 45, but you can't. And now when if you were to, not like I have, but if you were to beat the shit out of your license plate, spray paint it black, and make it look like your feet hit it and bunch of stuff, you could actually just drive past that shit.
How many times have you been pulled over for?
3 times. And they say, do you have a front license plate? I say, yeah. He's like, well, see you later.
I just also.
See, I don't have a front license plate. I've been pulled over for it twice, and I still don't have a front license plate.
Yeah, but my rear one is unlegible.
Illegible.
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 can't-
That's the word. I was thinking
the word you're
ill-eligible.
looking for is ineligible.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the word.
Unintelligible.
Well, the
Or
cops.
unintelligent.
It's inscrutable right now.
I've asked the police. They have cameras that automatically read license plate readers, and mine shows up as unreadable. And that's exactly what I wanted. I was like, yes, good.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to have to skedaddle.
What happened? It's just $7.52. I saw you're
I've
not getting
been
your
here.
$200 this time.
I've been here over an hour.
Well, you can't show up early
Did
and
you
then
hear
do a
about the
7 to
pay?
8
I
podcast.
think
I'm
this
just
is a
fucking
good
with
time
you.
to discuss my rate.
Nice.
I bet he makes more than 200.
I only heard 22 seconds of music, so you're on a scale pay.
If I play real fast, would that catch up for
Yeah.
lost time?
Yeah.
Dan actually saw me in the corner, and I said, "I'll do anything for $5." And he said, "I got a podcast." And I said, "Oh,
I got
10."
needs to be red line.
Nice. What is that, Michael? You got $5?
It's a bamboo hat.
Nice. Nice.
From Vietnam.
from Vietnam. I'll explain it next week. I have to go home to my children. Bye. See you.
I'll take you next seat.
Connor's moving into the good seat.
Yeah, so the stuff that I'm sorry, I fucked up your music. Go ahead, Neil. Just start playing. Keep going. Bulls. Make that 3. Neil, have you ever been on a podcast before?
First time. Been on radio before, like old school terrestrial radio
Yeah.
on FM.
Were you on like WTMD?
I've been on WTMD. I've actually been on Noise in the Basement on 98 Rock before.
Kick ass,
Yeah,
man.
my
Pretty
band
cool.
did a featured headlining show at Fletcher's.
Yeah, they always
So
recorded
they
it
got you
at the
live,
shows.
huh?
Hey, shout out to Matt Davis. That guy's cool as shit.
He's still rolling, isn't he?
He is. He's a hypnotist in addition to being an awesome radio personality. He was my neighbor growing up.
Oh, really?
Dude, we grew up he grew up 3 doors up the street from me where I lived in Perry Hall.
That's really cool.
Anyway, good dude, and I'm really glad you represent.
So Neil, you've been on the road playing in Baltimore shows. What are some of the things that the places you've played? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not about trying to impress, but I do want to.
Sure.
I do want to discuss places that are not here anymore that were here.
What's the craziest roadie you've ever had sex with?
Roadies are usually dudes, and I have not been successful with getting in their pants. Tried, but anyway.
Roadies are
Nice.
gross, dude.
So,
you
I
don't-
have no idea what roadies really are.
roadies are generally people that are unattractive that hang out and not roadies. You're talking
And I
about
think
groupies.
you're thinking of groupies, which
Groupies,
are
is that what
people
it
that
is?
are generally unattractive that hang out.
Yeah, that's
Is that right?
groupies. That's groupies.
I thought that groupies were supposed to be hot.
Groupies and roadies
I
are
mean,
both.
I'm sure they were for successful bands in the 70s.
We had-
80s,
They just
and
stayed
90s.
alive for it.
We had a roadie. We had a roadie. His name was Ox, and this guy was a landscaper. He was 6 foot something. He was huge. He sounds like his name, and we would pay him $30 to $40 depending on whatever the show was. You know, we're making whatever we're making, like 120, 140 or something, and he's making 30 or 40. Every night his bill for his bar tab was like 180. And I was like, "What are you doing?" It was almost like we gave him a discount at the bar.
He's in it because he loves it.
Yeah, we
So,
played
all right.
the Purple Moose. He drank a full 30 pack within 24 hours.
Way to go, bro.
Yeah, I was proud of him. Like,
There's probably a name for that accomplishment.
Alcoholism.
Nice.
So, venues in Baltimore starts and ends with one place. It's called the 8x10.
Oh, 8x10.
Hammerjacks was a little before my time.
It
and-
was before my time.
Yeah,
Before-
but I will say when I was not even, I was 16 years old. My band that I was with in high school, we would drive down there on Monday nights. I had a fake ID, so we'd get in, we'd play open mic, and then we'd get offered shows there just from playing there at open mics. And this was the old 8x10 when it was a crap hole.
It was actually 8x10.
Yeah, you'd walk in and there was like a mixing board inside of a fireplace. There was this old dude,
you gotta
Duke.
put it somewhere.
Yeah, there's this old dude Duke that worked the door. I don't know that I ever understood a single thing he ever said to me, to be honest with you. But hell of a guy, real nice, friendly dude.
You talk to the doorman?
Um,
I'm just kidding.
yeah, I
You
mean,
kind of have to.
yeah.
They're just there.
I don't know. I've always been held the belief that you make friends with all the people that work there and try to do your best to be held in high regard, or at least
you always. I
considered
was
a
in a
cool dude.
band. I was in a band that was known for being assholes to everyone. So whenever I said hi to anyone, they were like, "Wow, he's the nicest person in the room." I'm like, no, I'm not being that nice. Just the other guys are such dickheads.
So, yeah, I hold the 8x10 in high regard. I've seen so many great shows there. I've gotten to play there with multiple bands. The current owners, Brian and Abigail, are fantastic people. It's just recently come out to public knowledge that they're trying to sell the business.
Hey, how much is it?
What I've seen posted is they're looking for $450,000 to buy the business and the liquor license.
It's actually not that bad.
I thought the same thing when I heard the number.
450. that's less than. I mean, honestly, that's pretty solid.
It is, and
That's
it's a reputable club. And
Well, why would you want to, sell it? Are they just done with it, or is it failing?
I think they kind of want to retire, don't they?
I'm sure that's part of it.
Yeah.
It's
20 or
hard to
30
run a
years.
venue in Baltimore. It is really difficult.
I'm sure that somebody else would come along and start a bidding war because that's a. I mean, I don't know.
doubt it. I mean,
it hasn't.
It's one of those
honestly.
things you have to know people and you have to have all this stuff. And
Yeah, a
there's-
realtor.
the
You have to have
crime
450K apparently.
Well,
A realtor
so-
at 450K would get you.
Well,
that.
a realtor wouldn't because you're not buying the property.
yeah,
What are you
you're,
buying?
buying
You're
business.
buying a business.
You're renting.
You're
Okay,
buying an
fine.
existing business,
Sorry.
the lease,
I'm
the
so sorry.
equipment. You're buying the liquor license, which is expensive. But
and
You're
also
buying into the
sometimes
lease?
So what-
unattainable. The liquor license.
there is a big thing that dooms venues in Baltimore, and it's the no compete clause that the venues in DC have in their contracts. So very often a band that can play a profitable show at the 930 Club, the Atlantis, the Anthem, in order to play there, you have to agree not to play within a 60 or 90 mile radius. So at that point, you can't play Baltimore on that tour because you're no compete clause at those venues. And generally, those venues tend to be more well attended and more profitable shows. So it makes sense for bands to play there more. That's why us people in Baltimore, we get the good bands at weird times of the year.
Yeah,
Weird times, or we go to DC or Philly.
Exactly. or the band we like, they come through Baltimore once every 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And you're seeing that now with Ram's Head closing. That's another great venue that I've seen, maybe 100 shows there. I've had the fortune to play there to open up for Lotus. And man, what a class act between the people
they're
that
coming
run
to
it,
town
the
again, aren't
sound.
they?
They just were in town last Friday.
Well, I'm sorry.
Saturday.
Lotus are class act. They're amazing guys. Yes. I was talking about the venue in Ram's Head and just the people that work there that run sound, the really good professional people that run a great venue.
I actually really liked Ram's Head. I've been there for one show, and it was actually a Valentine's drag show. I took my.
You're so gay.
I did. It wasn't my idea, but I did it years ago. And it wasn't a bad time. It really wasn't. And I loved the venue. I thought because it has like the brewery there, right? Am I thinking the Ram's Head Live, or is that?
So I feel like many years ago they kind of had like a couple tanks in there and they made beer.
Yeah, it was
but
like some like brass looking whatever. I remember it was kind of cool.
I think they stopped that after a while.
Oh, that's a shame.
I got one more concert at Ram's Head before they shut it down. Disco Biscuits, 11/6.
Nice.
Oh my God, they're
checking
playing
that
in
one out.
Ram's Head.
Yep.
They play everywhere.
I think because I think it's the end of
Where are they based
November.
out of? Are they Philly?
Philly band.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know who we got to see? You might not even know who this is, Neil. We got me and Connor and Raphael, who Raphael didn't give two flying craps about the band. Ginger. No, you're not into heavier stuff.
Oh, I love this story. Can I tell this story?
Oh my.
No,
We've heard.
no, no.
We've
come on,
told
let
the
me tell this-
story.
let me tell this story.
It's not the story.
We've heard-
let me tell a quick
He
version.
can listen to the podcast.
We've heard this story from Raphael already.
Oh yeah, from one side. I know. I was gonna give you the true
Do
version.
you want to rebut on that? I don't know. I don't want to bore Neil. We can get
No,
into
Neil
that
will
another-
love this.
I
Neil,
wanna
you
hear
ready?
the story. Go.
He doesn't
yeah, let's
know
hear it, man.
This is a good story. Hold on.
So I'm gonna
He's
set
gonna
the
make
stage.
us wait.
I'm gonna
I love that. Build the anticipation.
I'm gonna set the stage here. So we go. I get Raphael.
Baltimore Soundstage, by the way.
Baltimore
the venue.
Soundstage was a great venue. They did great. It's a sold out show. Raphael says he's doing a photography shoot, and I go, oh my God, who a photography shoot? We're making fun of him, blah blah blah. He says it's a photography shoot for Ginger and for some other band and some other band. And I went, holy freaking crap balls! You're doing a photography shoot for Ginger. You have to get me in on this show. He was like, oh, you like that band? I was like, I would pee my pants in front of my parents in public just to look at them or have anything to do with them. So they're playing a show right down the street, and this guy gets me in. He says, you're on the list.
For
It's
free.
for free. Sold out show. And plus, he said there were free drinks, and it was like free soft drinks.
All right.
He even said no +1. You
So-
can start there, Connor.
So he told Dan. So first of all, Raphael is just kind of a foolish guy in general, but
Don't put your opinion out there of him.
yeah, no, I mean it's a fact. Sorry, I don't mean to. I mean, you hear him on the podcast.
Raphael's already dropped hate all over Connor, so we have to give him a chance.
Raphael,
At least I can say mine. This
Connor's
is,
chance to rebut.
Nice, thank you. So, no, I mean, really all it is Dan was going to this concert. I also was listening to a little bit of Ginger, and I was like, yeah, I would love to go to this. And I said, I'm going to go to this. And I think that's the moment that I was, like, I'm going to get into the building. Like, that's the moment that ultimately everything else was decided. So I go there with the camera, do everything else. I said, we walked up to the front desk, or what, not the front desk, but the front door. And they said, I said, hey, where does staff get in? And they say, staff gets in and around the side. And I said, perfect, thank you so much.
You didn't say any of that. I
Yes,
did
I did.
all of that. You were
Dan-
sitting on the side.
What are you talking about? Dan didn't say anything. Dan kept saying, I'm on the list. And then I was like, just shush, just wait till we get inside. And so we walked around the side, we went to the staff side, and I said, hey, look, the guy at the front said, come in this way, for the staff entrance. And they said, the guy at the front, and I was like, yeah, and Dan described him and everything else. He said, okay, yeah, sounds right. And he lets us in, right? So now we're backstage. Everything works out. We skipped the whole long line. We're both inside. We didn't need Raphael, all right? Bottom line, you need to get into a place, just talk to me, and we'll figure it out. And so we go in, and Dan goes up front and does everything else, and I'm hanging out back there. I'm meeting the sound stage manager. I'm meeting like all these other people. They're all pretty chill. I'm taking out my camera. I'm just kind of making it look busy and everything else. And everybody's buying it. Dan's texting me. He's like, you need to come out here because Raphael's freaking out. So
yeah, Raphael's freaking out. Raphael's like, what is Connor doing? He literally says, what the fuck is that guy doing in here? How did he get in here?
Meanwhile, I'm having a great time in the back. And so I'm coming out, and so Raphael's, he's like, oh, you can't have a camera, a photographer.
He's got this fucking camera around his neck. It's a DSLR, and it looks like a professional camera. We were hanging out with the photographer. That's how I got him in. I said, put something that makes you look like a photographer. I'll get you in. And so the Raphael, the other guy on the podcast that comes in occasionally, says, you're not allowed to have cameras in here. You got to get rid of the camera. Go ahead. What happened?
So anyways, so Raphael is making a big stink. Nobody else really cares. Literally, nobody else cares. Everybody else has seen it. Fine, all right? So I'm totally happy to put it away. But in the interim, Raphael's like all on my face, belligerence,
screaming at
kind
Connor.
of like an angry child throwing a tantrum.
This is during a heavy metal show. It's already loud.
He's kind of got the height for it too.
Oh,
Raphael.
man. Poor Raphael. You're digging on him so bad.
I hope he's listening. Cry yourself to sleep tonight, you dirty bastard.
Jesus God.
And so
He lives across the street, by the way, so he can come over and kick his ass anytime.
yeah, I can go over there and kick his ass anytime. I just don't want to.
He
It's
said
not
a
very
man
fair.
twice your age will kick your ass.
He's not twice my height though.
He's got the old man strength. Don't underestimate that.
He's got the limp dick, but I don't think. And I'm sorry. That's
We
too
did a
mean.
couple
I
really
don't
good-
want to get that mean.
That limp dick produces some aggression that he
That's
will
right.
take out of
That's
his
true.
ass.
He doesn't have anything to lose.
Fuck with a man that hasn't been laid in 6 months.
True anger
How
right
did you
there.
know that about
That's
him?
a fair point.
Oh, Raphael. I'm
I
sorry.
didn't know anything.
He doesn't tell me anything. You can just tell.
Is he married?
I don't
That's why
want to
he's-
be mean to
No.
Raphael. Actually,
Anyway.
I have
so
nothing but sympathy.
back to the club was awesome. You were saying how good Ginger was.
So Ginger was great. Anyways, so I told him there that I was like, if you want me to do something, you can ask nicely or whatever.
He
else,
said
but you can't
said
be-
we need to get rid of the camera. I said, can you give the camera to Raphael?
No, fuck no.
Can you
I
give
was never
give
giving
the
my
camera to
anybody.
Raphael? And then Raphael, he's here. He's part of the show. He can
'cause
safely hold and that camera was not coming off of his
I
neck.
actually use my camera.
That
and I
camera
love my
was
camera.
on your neck so tight you would not let it go.
No,
we would have had to
That
knock
camera
you
has
out.
been with me to places. I was like, that's
Anyway.
ridiculous.
So finish the story.
All right. Anyways, so I wasn't gonna take it off and everything else. Raphael got all pissy. But at the end of the day, he put a tampon in, and then we enjoyed Ginger, and it was a fun time. And I think ultimately, the lesson here is that if I want to go somewhere, like I'm ultimately just gonna do it, right? Raphael got really mad about that. He was like,
Connor
who
would
said
not.
you can come here?
I
And
got
was like, I
got
did.
tickets
I said
to
that.
a show. I got one ticket to a show, and he got in my truck, and I'm like, dude, get out of my truck. I'm going to the show. He stayed in my truck. I was like, sounds like you're hanging out in Baltimore.
That's not what he said.
I only have a plus.
He
I don't
wanted
have
me
a
to
plus
come.
one.
He said, do you want to come to this? I really don't want to go alone. I'll be
I
scared.
I
I'll be
did
shy.
cock up a plan on the way. I gave him a guitar cable. I said, we're going to fucking sneak in the back door, and I got him in.
He looked at me and he said,
It was a high security show.
He said,
this is a big one.
What if they mosh? And I said, enjoy the mosh. He said,
They had
no, please come
we
with
had to
me.
go through like 3 or 4 security people, and it was a big freaking mess. And it was fine. And if they said no, we would have not gone. It's good.
It was nice.
You would have gone.
I would have gone. Well, as long
I
as
would
he
have gone.
didn't, as long as he didn't pull a Connor and go crazy on a. I'm just kidding. You've never gone crazy.
No, I never go crazy. I'm very, very calm, cool, collected, and that's how you get into places.
Raphael was really pissed, and I'm not like that for many people. But with this guy, he's the new guy on the podcast. I got to haze him a little bit, you know.
What do you mean you're not like that? You're like that. I feel like every podcast you haze. Hazing is part of Dan's character.
Oh
He hazes
no,
away.
I don't
You
haze
haze
CJ
away. Yes, you
anymore.
you haze CJ a little bit.
happens.
You haze
I
him.
don't feel it.
So your story reminds me a little bit of my family. We have this tradition of the rules don't apply to us, and my parents taught us at a young age how to sneak into places.
Nice.
And the most important thing you learn is you walk through a door,
As
you
if
walk
it's-
with authority.
Yeah, as if it's
You
going to
don't
open
break
for you.
stride.
You don't.
And if someone stops you, you're just friendly and act like you're supposed to be there.
Hey, what's up?
Yep.
And just keep going. I mean, as a
Exactly.
drummer, you don't. You walk in because you know you're supposed to walk through.
Yep.
My favorite.
And the door opens for you. But if you're walking up like, hey, is this the right door? Is this the, you
Yeah.
know?
Who are you? What are you here for?
Yeah. I walked up. I had a special knock that they told me to knock on the back door from the front. I talked to the security and they said, go back here, do this, do that. And I got in. And then we had to
Shaving
get
a
past the
haircut.
next
Is
thing.
it the same knock as the
No.
rest station you
I'm not-
visit late at night?
I won't. I won't give out.
95?
No, I won't give out the knock because it's the back door of a club in Baltimore,
Yeah.
and I don't want to give out that knock. But
I'm sure they don't change it. It's
I'm
the
sure
same
it's the
knock.
same every single time. It's the security. I don't know. They knew it. They opened the door and just go ahead. It's right there. And yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, I think it's really important to also do a confused thing. So I like to do the earbuds, put them in, and then you walk in. Like you try walking in, and you're like, the door's not opening. You just look confused, but you can't audibly say anything because
You
You
we
can't-
call
you
that
can't
the
hear.
Helen Keller.
And
you
so
have to put
somebody-
you have to
Nice.
put
that's because it comes
sunglasses
from
on.
Alabama. We call it the Helen Keller. No, and then you act confused, and somebody who's right there who has a fob, they're like, oh, here you go.
I take it one step further, and I have one of those extendable sticks.
Nice.
Tick 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 tick.
Oh, perfect. He pretends to be blind.
What my joke?
He didn't.
I wasn't going to get it. No, I appreciate
Really?
the explanation.
Good? Okay, well, I'll leave it in then. That's good. Neil, are you having fun on your first podcast?
Yeah, I didn't see this coming.
It's a little awkward. We
They
didn't
never see it
plan
coming.
any. We planned nothing out. CJ, you knew that you're one of your really good friends that you know reunited with me and whatnot. You knew he was coming.
I found out today, but yes.
You found out today, but what you did no planning.
No, I didn't.
I wrote all
came
sorts of-
home.
I wrote all
took a
sorts
na-
of stuff in a book in my truck, and
I
I'm
took
like,
a nap.
So I do have a question. How did my name come up in conversation between you, CJ, and you, Dan? And how did it get connected that
I'm
we
gonna let
knew each
CJ
other?
take that.
It was here.
during the podcast. That's
Yeah,
one of the
it was-
reasons we have the podcast.
Yeah, it was like episode 7 or 8.
It's
it was
opening
somewhere in
doors
there.
in life, little small doors, not bad doors. These are great doors.
And he was talking about bands he was
The
been
back
in.
door.
And,
Nice.
He mentioned 3 or 4 different bands.
Yeah, he's
He
like,
was
who do you play for? I'm like, I don't want to say everybody's name on the podcast. I don't want. I mean, some of these people I don't want to be associated with. They're musicians they're bad people. But
I'm listening to
I
you.
mean,
CJ.
come on. But go ahead. So
Yeah, so all the bands he's played for, he was like, "Man, I remember playing with a guy named Neil back when I was in high school, and I remembered that he went to high school
yeah, we're all
around
local.
here
Like,
where you went."
he went to CJ went to high school around here. I went to high school, and so did this guy Neil, who's in studio.
Yep. So and I was all like, "I used to know a Neil," and I said your name, and he was like, "That's him."
That's Neil.
That's
I said, how do
my
you
Neil.
spell it? How do you spell it? And I know another Neil that spells it's the same last name as you, but it's spelled differently. He's in mortgage. I called him first. I went in my phone and I hit the button Neil N, and he's in the mortgage stuff or whatever you do outside.
Yeah.
What do you do for you're generally
We're a real estate title company. So yeah,
Okay.
real
Yeah.
estate and mortgage related.
the only contact I have with this guy that's playing guitar in our studio today is I saw you once since I was his drummer in middle school. So I saw him once. I sold a house or bought a house. He actually remembered you remembered the address for some reason. Creepy.
I remembered where it was. I remembered that it was. I remember
like
that it was in Perryville,
I
and it was
owned
you
the
could
house.
see it from a bridge.
I owned the house and I still don't remember the address. Like I owned it for 5-6 years. Yeah, you could. That was my dream. So what you saw was me following my dreams. I told my real estate agent I want to go over a bridge and I want to see my house as I'm on top of that bridge. As I'm going over the bridge, I want to be able to see just the tip of it or the roof or like a door, something I can. That's mine. I want that. And she said, "Oh, you're not going to like this. This is up in Perryville. This is a bad.
We got a spot for you.
They found the house, and I was like, that's the dream. That's it. That was my dream, and I bought it. I said, I'm doing it, and I drove to work for an hour and 15 minutes every day.
That sounds kind of lame.
It was actually pretty cool. By the time you got there, you're awake.
Yeah, I normally consider my commute when I can.
My commute this morning is pretty good. It's like 45 minutes.
Like 30 minutes a day or so.
I think once you start commuting for more than an hour and everything else, everything kind of just seems so relative. It's like, oh yeah, that's not so bad. And it's like, how far is the drive? It's like, oh, it's like 45 minutes and everything else. It's like, that's a whole hour, dude. We're traveling.
I worked across the street from. I ran a Red Wing shoe store in. Now that you got to keep playing music. I'm like free flowing.
Oh, he's vibing.
I'm
over
vibing.
here.
I like having Neil play. I worked right across the street from the store I was. My store was right across the street from where I was living. Right, so it was a 38-second drive, and I would only drive there because I needed my car for other things during the day. You know,
I can understand that. I had a job where I was working like 10 minutes from the house, and it was barely enough for your car to get warm.
Yeah.
In the
You're not.
wintertime.
You get there and you're like, I feel like I should be able to warm my hands up.
Yeah, and I found when I worked just a little further away, when it took me 20 minutes to work, that
Special.
was enough
It's a
to kind of
special
listen
ride.
to some music, relax a little bit. I will say, man,
You wake up.
if you can
wake up
eliminate
better.
the beltway and highways from your daily commute,
Oh, that is more
it
fun.
really, really does improve your quality of life.
Here in Maryland, in the USA, we have where we live. We're in the center. We are in the top right-hand kind of side. Are we outside? Yeah, we're outside.
No, we're inside.
We're not inside because we would have to pay taxes for inside. Right
we're,
here?
we're inside 695. We're not inside Baltimore City.
Okay, we're inside 695.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big loop. It's like a belt. They call it the Beltway, and it's a circle. And
Actually, that's a misnomer. The Beltway doesn't come from the shape of it. It actually comes from Javier Belt, the guy that invented that traffic
Jesus
control.
Christ, how do you know that?
Because I'm making shit up.
Nice.
You
Nice.
fucker.
I had a feeling because I was like, I could follow
I
up this
knew
bit
you-
by doing
that was
something
good.
just like that, and I was like, that was good. That's
That was
comedy.
really good,
Using that.
Neil. You got me. Comedy podcast. It's the long burns. I love it. So the Beltway. I'm trying to teach people. We have listeners in Pradesh, and,
I appreciate
and India, and all that. So
One of my biggest complaints with listening to podcasts is I like old school radio setups. By the way, my name is Neil Graham. I'm on the I've Been Tasked With podcast here with Dan, CJ, and Connor.
Nice. Now you got to.
But
keep all
yeah,
the
it's
intros
annoying
in.
when like you have to rewind something 4 times because you barely hear someone reference someone's name or a name of something,
I'm
and you
Dan.
want to listen.
I'm Dan. I'm the drummer. I run this shit. And then we got CJ. Where is he?
I'm
CJ.
CJ. I live down the street.
and then I'm Connor.
CJ is the co-host.
What's your shtick, Connor?
Connor he cleans my fish tank. He's the fish
actually,
tank
I
guy.
clean I'm actually the pool boy, but there was
I
a
mean,
wrong
technically-
Craigslist ad. And
Make
then,
some cool model vehicles as well.
He
That's
has
right.
looked like the pool boy. He's out back washing my boat and shit in like little tiny shorts.
Yeah, I wear a Speedo.
We look
in
like
it.
we end up looking. I walk out manly like I look. I got freaking cowboy boots on and jeans and tools. And then there's little Connor out there with his. What were you? They're 4-inch high shorts.
Oh yeah, no, I had running shorts on.
What do
I
we
had,
look like? CJ is in his yard next door looking over.
No,
Bobby Weir in the
Did you
80s.
see me in those
Super,
shorts?
super sexy.
Thank you.
You're
I
looking
didn't think
great,
it was
bro.
a big deal. It was running shorts.
I was like, neighbors are gonna
Right.
think I'm gay.
They're flowy
Not
at the
not like
bottom
there's
because you
anything
run in
wrong.
them, and it's like there's men's
I was
running
like,
shorts.
Connor, can you put on some manly shit? God damn it, you're
The
making.
the issue is that Dan is scared of gay things because he's actually gay.
No, I'm not.
All right, all right.
I'm
I
with
got to jump
Lauren.
in on this. It's all good for you to wear shorts like that,
Fair enough.
but you'll never see me in those kind of
I
shorts.
won't do that either.
Yeah, shorts that don't at least come down to my
CJ
knees make
shaking
me
his
feel
head.
really uncomfortable.
Let me
Can't
tell you
happen.
about these. They
I would
flow.
also like extra pockets.
Yeah, these only have the 2
I'm
pockets.
a pocket guy. I like my cargo pants, and people say it's unattractive. I'm like, I got a girlfriend. I am fine.
I at least suggest them for around the house because I'll tell you what, like because it's so loose everywhere. It's like
I'm like, do you?
it's like walking around naked. It's perfect.
I walk into my house
Feels-
after
I don't
a
wear
hard day
underwear
at
with
work.
them,
My
so don't
buddy,
look up at. That's the issue.
My buddy is sitting on the sofa, and I'm like, "Are you in your boxers?"
No, they're running shorts.
They're running shorts. That's
They have it in.
You really
they have
don't
it,
wear underwear underneath.
They're
though.
inside. There's an inside liner.
So you're
It's
like
like a
walking around in a
bathing
bathing
suit?
suit. Yeah.
That's basically
Neil-
what it is. It's running shorts. I don't know what to tell you
There's gotta be
guys.
some chafing going on. That does not sound like
No,
proper
it's really
support.
not. I'm telling you, it feels great. I'm gonna get them right now. Put them on.
Right now, I'm going to show these
Do you
off.
plan to have kids down the road?
Trust me, these will ensure that.
anyway.
It's gotten like
they-
4
they-
times the size.
the
Honestly,
underwear thing. I didn't even
the
think
ball.
of that. I'm like, you should have fucking underwear
The
on in
count-
my house.
It's got an inside liner.
You sit on my sofa.
There's probably a ball
How
print
easily
right
could
here.
he sweat through that? Too,
Yeah,
right
well, he
onto
doesn't
your-
sweat because he's
You
he
don't
just
because
sits
it's just
there. He
it's
doesn't
just
do
it's so
anything.
breezy.
Connor's like another dog, but like a golden retriever. I have a
Dan
pit
has
bull.
no idea. Dan
Connor's
never
the
sees me.
golden
He's always with
retriever.
Lauren nowadays.
I am. I'm pretty much moving out.
He's never here.
It's with his girlfriend.
I'm
With his
moving out.
girlfriend, with his beard, man.
I told Connor, I said, Connor, you're getting a new roommate. We might have a person come in here. We got an offer for $1,200 a month for a man who needs a place to live for 3 months. Connor's face was like scoured scorn. You, would-
Not because I know who you were talking about.
you don't know her boyfriend.
No, I have yet to meet.
I met it. I haven't met him either.
We
I
have to
just-
cut all of this, by the way.
No, I'm not cutting shit. 12. No, I'm like some of it, but like $1,200. You're going to pass up 1,200.
Look, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying if I were you, be careful.
Does that reduce the rent you pay?
No, it
I
has
don't
nothing
think
to do
you
with me.
can.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the point I'm trying to make there is like, then yeah, why would he be
How
for
do
it?
you
There's no
cut
benefit
half
to
of
him.
dog shit? How do you cut half of?
No,
nothing?
here's the thing. I would not be opposed.
He doesn't-
I'm just saying you
He
don't know
doesn't
the
live
guy.
here. Why is it his choice? It's my house. I own the house.
All I'm saying is that you
I
just
don't
don't
even know
know
where
this
he
guy.
actually lives. I
So
think
to that token, though, like the decision only affects him mostly.
Yeah, so-
negatively at least.
No, it's fine.
Again, I have no issue
I'm
with this person.
I'm fine with that.
You don't want to remain. I'm fighting.
I'd
this
be
for
happy-
you, dude.
well,
Honestly, you don't know
No matter
what
how-
you're agreeing to. Just
No
don't.
matter how good the roommate is,
I don't want this guy
The
in my
roommate
new
sucks.
house. I don't. This is my old house. I have a new house coming. It's already there. I'm building it, and I don't want him in that house. So where would I put him? I'm going to put him here. You know,
I mean, that's fair. Look, again, to mitigate a bad situation.
if
that's
he's the
fine.
kind of guy that will listen to my podcast all the way to the very end, like this is, he can move in, and I love him. And he can
I think-
stay at Lauren's house, but
I
he's
think-
not that kind
do you
of
care
guy.
I
if they
think
listen?
anyone would
Just hit
agree.
the download button, right? That's
I-
what you say.
I think anyone would agree, though. You should at least meet this person.
You should. If you're gonna
You
move
can
in with
meet
somebody,
him. You can meet him, and you can love him.
I will never.
That's cool.
It doesn't matter. You always meet someone's representative first. You don't meet them. You don't know who they are.
That's why we should
I
build a
don't-
mock house for him to live in
I
first.
know the guy playing guitar.
And then really put him through some really shitty situations, and then move him here, and then be like, "Hey, that was just a test. You actually passed, and we actually have
Here's
running
the
water
good
here."
Place. This is the good place.
Is the other place that it's like some trailer with like no,
It's your Jack Shack, right?
it's a Jack Shack. Don't sit on anything if you don't want to get
God.
pregnant.
Anyway, so
What?
this is more of a project.
I'm gonna have to roll.
Yeah,
that.
Please cut that.
Hey, let's
It's dinner time.
You have to end it up. End the podcast.
Bye, everyone.
No, you got to sing a song. Nick always sings me a song, and he left me.
Nick left.
Nick never sings you a
He
song.
sings me a song every time.
What's it?
Oh, I can think of someone who.
Say it ain't so.
Neil. Say it ain't so. Your love is a heartbreaker. Ba, 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 ba.
If only you could see yourself now
I feel-
from back then.
I bet.
Think about how amazed you would be.
I bet Neil
all right, I'm not
sang
gonna.
better than I did.
I appreciate that, and I will tell you, man. Like current day Neil, if young teenage Neil met me, I'd be so stoked.
Dope.
And like,
It worked out.
and I don't mean to sound like it. I don't know. That sounds.
He was a
pompous
gentle
or,
kid.
Like
He
really
was-
full of myself, but
He
like,
was a listener. He would sit and talk. He was not. That's what I remember. This guy.
I appreciate that. That's something I'm always working on. And honestly, like, I used to put my foot in my mouth so much as a young man. And yeah, I appreciate listening, thinking before you speak, and being somewhat aware of the impact your words have on people.
Neil and I went on the boat, and it worked out great. We got back. We didn't die.
It could have gone much worse.
It only took me 2 weeks to recover from my injuries sustained on the boat. It was
What did
fun.
you do? What did you hurt?
Well, I took a nice chunk out of my knee on an exposed hinge that was in a doorway.
Nice.
And then-
that was good. Come on, you're such a whiner.
And then
CJ.
my
We're
dismount
gonna
getting
just
off
get
of the
some
boat, that was
stuff.
entirely on me, but I had an amazing bruise on the back of my knee.
Yeah,
from
he's
that. That was
the
fun.
dismount.
That was on me. I'm a klutz.
I mean, it is a dangerous thing to be on a boat that you don't really, I know the boat. I know where all the ledges are. It's your first time there. I didn't give you a tour, did I? I didn't go like, hey, I didn't say, here's your tour. Don't do this. Don't do that. By the way, this is sticking out. Nick, Nick.
I
You're
don't-
not Nick. You're Connor. Connor, he just gets right on my boat and starts walking around.
That's right.
And he
I
heard
wouldn't,
it.
I wouldn't have wanted the tour. My parents had a boat when I was a kid, and I've been on them enough that
Yeah, I didn't want to offend.
when I
I'm
didn't.
like, he's like, I know boats. I'm like, all right, get on. Let's go.
Yeah, no, and you were fine. You were a good host. We had a good time.
Yeah, the only thing I wish that I could have taken it up on plane, and at that point, I think there's such a heavy contamination of fuel every time I talk on a podcast. You would think I would have fixed it by now. I have 2 boats I'm working on. That boat was my backup. I used that all summer. We were cruising around for hours. We would go to all these different islands and stuff. We had a blast. But towards the end of the season, the fuel gets more and more contaminated for some reason. And I don't know. I know how to stop it. I think it's a lot of the ethanol that I'm using from the road fuel. I'm putting road fuel in, but when I want to fill it up, I don't want to go to a dock and pay $3.80. Or no, it's what's a Connor? How much is it right now? How much is a gallon of gas?
Oh, depends on where you are.
Answer the
But
question.
But at Costco,
Roughly.
it is $2.88.
Okay, so it's $4.10 or $4.15 at the dock right now.
Down there at the Crazy Tuna, it's cheaper than everywhere else.
You can't get it at Crazy Tuna. By the way, Crazy Tuna just closed down. Saturday was his last day.
That's why I brought it up. But yes,
Is it? Tell me more, because I don't know that much more.
I've only been there a couple times for lunch with friends. Just cool spot, whatever.
That's our boat spot. We pull our boats up there and then go over on the left.
I hate to say this, but boat bars usually aren't my favorite spots.
And that's not about, if I was single and I was going to pick up women, I would not want to go there.
Oh
honestly.
no, that's not wife material.
Yeah, no, you don't want to go there. So, but as far as like watching people walk around and do stuff and like bands, like having the boats there, I love looking at other people's boats. You're parked next to people and they're starting their boats up, and you get to see what you would. It's my dream to get a better vessel every time. No matter what you get, you want something better. I want something better. I want my lights to be brighter than the other ones. And CJ is like, oh, you want people to think you're cool. I'm like, no, it's not about that. I just want a vessel that is superior in my own eyes. I see someone else's that's superior. I want to be better than theirs. It's not about them seeing me. It's about, I want my boat to be cool. I want to be able to just drive it around. I want to feel like I own the best I can do.
So, do you want the boat to be better to further enhance your experience of being out on the water, or do you just want to know that you're better than the guy next to you?
No, it's not about being better. It's about, I want to know that I have the ability to go yellow, pink, purple, red, orange, all these different colors all around my boat. And I can be like, this is what I can do. And I can literally control it's about having control of something. My boat, I'm held back on my boat because all season was repairs. So like I go out and everyone else is like, I just feel like it's not mine it might be that mine feels less superior. It feels weaker.
So
I almost want to be on the same line as them, just the same level.
So if you had a boat that required less maintenance, was completely rock solid, reliable, and just
you clean it.
I guess my question is,
own that.
If you had something like that, would it be enough for you having something that was just easy and reliable compared to, does it need to be bigger, badder, faster.
Doesn't have to be faster or anything. It has to be. The reliability is really important, and mine is reliable now once I get the fuel thing done. But this was a vessel that was abandoned and sat still for 26 years. So it sat in a parking lot for, think about that, since I've met you. We've grown up and had kids, and they're in high school. All of that time has gone by, and this boat's just sitting there. It's just sitting there and rotting and rotting. And who knows before that? So it was like 2006 was the last time it was 1996. The Mark Twain was 1996.
So we were playing that 7th grade talent show.
And
while
this
thing was
boat, that's the
sitting.
last day this boat ran, was that talent show. Basically, that's what symbolism, right?
Yeah.
It all loops around. But yeah, it said on that the last sticker that was on there was 1996 or 1997, one of those.
So hearing you talk about this makes me think about a hobby or something that I'm into and I appreciate. And
I just asked you, hey, Neil, tell me about your hobbies.
one thing that I'm into is watches. And
Watching women.
No, wristwatches, timepieces. And what I enjoy about that is an automatic watch, meaning a watch that's on your wrist that winds as you move it and stays.
I've heard they had those.
What's cool about that is it's an old technology. You know, it's an old technology. It's been around for hundreds of years.
It's not perpetual motion, is it?
I mean, it kind of is. There's different forms of that and different movements and stuff. But anyway, that's all minutia. Where I'm going with this is it's not the most accurate technology. It's not the most cutting edge, yet it's something that people still embrace kind of because it is older and archaic and still something that, you know, hundreds of years later is a technical marvel. And where I'm going with this, though, is there's all different levels of enjoyment for the hobby. You know, you could spend a couple $100 on a Seiko. You could spend $50 on an electronic Casio watch. And the same dude that spent $10,000 on a Rolex could be into your watches and still enjoy talking about the hobby. I get the impression boat people are very much like that.
Any single boat is a boat. Anything that's floating is it's cool when they look like crap, and it's cool when they look really nice, and you can tell who spends days. It's just like a car.
Exactly.
A classic car.
And what's cool with like watch people and car people is it doesn't have to be expensive to be cool. And as a matter of fact, sometimes these cool rare gems of someone who's just kept this thing going is, or I guess an example that comes to mind is if I see someone that has a 1988 Volkswagen Rabbit that looks brand new, like the day it drove off the lot. Mm-hmm. To me, that is such a cooler car than like a brand new BMW. And that guy that's maintaining it.
He was able to keep it going.
Right. And there's something cool about that. And as a hobbyist, you got to respect that.
So back in the day, do you remember the watch I always had when I was growing up?
Was it the calculator watch?
It's very close to it. It never had a calculator watch.
Shark watch?
Those guys were dorks. It had buttons on it similar to a calculator, but didn't do calculations. I'm just trying to rack your brain, and I know that it was a remote control watch.
I remember that now.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's certain things in my childhood that I did for a long time, and remote control watch made by Casio. Mm-hmm. And I actually bought another one after like college and stuff. I bought one just like I wanted that feeling of being able to control my TV with my watch. And so you could set it like code 19 was Sony. Mm-hmm. Code 29 was Mitsubishi. So we'd be in school classes and stuff, and we saw Sony. It's so easy. I'm like, I don't even have to look at my chart. 19. I type it in. Now I have control of the volume, the channel. The teachers would swap TVs. We never got to see the thing. It was great. I was a menace. Hilarious. I know you're a menace as well. But that was I did that from middle school on to the end of high school. I always have my remote, and if I broke one, I'd just work harder and get another one. I'm like, that was the coolest watch. I need that. You know, you could be sitting. You're in here. I can talk to my house. I can tell Google to turn shit on and off. Everything, all the lights, the temperatures, the TVs. I can tell them to do certain things and Chromecast and all that shit. But back then, they didn't have any of that. It was a remote control if it had batteries that worked, and the batteries back then sucked. So the remote control was on my watch. All I had to do was hit the button, boom. And I couldn't, but, you know, that's the same automation that I feel with Google. I don't need that watch anymore. That was good though. I've never had a real expensive watch. What are you wearing?
This is a watch by a German watchmaker called Müller Glashütte.
Hey, it's fucking it up. Hey, Connor, what kind of watch are you wearing?
This is Mega Gashura.
You're such a that's the worst. He can't riff for shit. What are you like? Looking at you and looking at him, you are so fucking young. I love it, and you don't look old. You look manly. You look like you're the right age.
You
but-
saved yourself there because originally
Look
you
at
were
this
just
dude.
calling me old. So
No.
that's good.
No, this is about a manly podcast. How do you be manly in Baltimore? Neil is one of the manliest men that I've met. Look, have you been working out? You work? How much do you work out?
I work out a lot. I shove food in my face and
No.
I chew it as fast as I can.
Look, he looks.
bet.
It might be
That's
the
good.
guitar. You look strong, man.
I think you're strong.
I got old
You
man
look
All right,
strong.
strength.
get naked. Listen.
Connor, you used to look strong until I saw this dude. He's like tan. Man, come on, man.
Sorry, I don't tan enough for Dan. Is what
I
you're
think
saying.
just ripping and ribbing and whatever.
All right, Dan, you gotta get naked first, though.
Of course, you'd want that.
I do have a daily workout regimen where I get up early in the morning and take a mile hike with my dog.
That's really good. That's really good.
You haven't done that ever, so that's cool.
That's
well,
great.
it's easy.
I'm like,
It's
I've
also
never
easy,
done a
like,
mile hike with my dog.
I go out in my backyard and we're in woods and trails.
Fancy
so
pants,
That
yeah.
makes it easy.
Yeah,
It's
I'm not. I
nice
didn't know I was
and
here with Negan. You know,
Who's that?
the guy that played Negan is he's from Pennsylvania,
Who's Negan?
from The Walking Dead.
Oh, okay.
I
I watched a couple episodes of that show. It gave me anxiety and I couldn't do
You
it
should.
anymore.
That show's a mess. It's perfect. So yeah, the gore and the grit and stuff. But no, they're the character that was there. He owns in real life his actual personality. Like Seinfeld is not the character on Seinfeld. He's a different kind of guy. This guy is a farmer, and I got a call yesterday morning, and it was like it was 5 a.m. yesterday morning, and I wasn't staying with my girlfriend, but I got a phone call from her, and she's like, "Hey, are you awake?" And I was like, "Yeah, unfortunately, I am. I should have slept longer, but I'm up." And she's like, "Are you hungry?" And I was starving. I woke up so hungry. Someone was like, she knew I like didn't eat or something, and she cooked me breakfast in the morning, and that stuff makes my days go way better. When somebody calls me and says, "I have food, come over here," and I drove to her house, had breakfast, went to work. I have a quick question for you before everything gets started here on this podcast.
Your family. In
Oh, I
Gateway,
didn't
New
want to bring
Jersey.
it up. I didn't want to bring it
wanna
up.
bring this up, and just for no other reason than I just would love to compare my memory of it with yours.
Yes, my memory is way different probably of yours because I'm like, I still don't understand what happened. Let's explain the situation. It is
All right,
1997, right? I'm guessing?
No, we-
earlier than that.
Yeah, this would have been like 8th grade, 9th grade.
1992.
Later than that, because we would have already been listening to Nirvana and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I would say like 95.
95. So 1995, this guy who's in studio with me, this is basically the last time that I ever saw this man. And him and I are going to hash this out. We didn't hang out many times after that.
So you're
So
right.
We're going to
you're
tell
right.
a story
You know,
about
you're
the
right
last
about that.
time of why I didn't talk to this guy. And it's not,
So, all right. Well, first thing first, like I don't look back at this with any
there's no negative.
of that. Yeah, no negative. So now that you're saying certain things, it's kind of coming
So
back
I
to
want
me,
to
but
go
I don't
first.
think about that.
I
Go.
want to go first with my memory and do not change yours of it.
Well, first off, let's bring everyone up to speed. Dan's family had a beautiful house on the beach in Stone Harbor, New Jersey.
Yes.
And his family was generous enough to invite me along to a week-long or like a 10-day long vacation there.
My best friend said, I want to bring Neil with me.
It was very nice of
And
your
Neil said,
family
I
to bring
can
me.
go. Right?
Yeah, and
You fucking went.
I went,
We
and
rocked that shit.
I'm not going to lie, I don't know that I'd ever been away from my family for that long.
Yeah.
Like, I never went to summer camp growing up or Bible camp or anything
It's
like
weird.
that. So,
It's
like,
weird. Plus,
when
my
you've
family,
never done it,
my family's very accepting of people, but like it's not the same as your family.
your family was very accepting, but it also reminded me that I was different.
In the bed, okay, you're
And and I don't mean that in a bad way.
Yeah.
It just in the way that it was kind of the first time that it dawned on me that everybody's family lives differently.
let's
and
tell
has
them the whole.
different
Let's tell them the
experience.
whole story first, and then we'll dig into it. So,
You start first, please.
summary is Neil got kicked out of. In my eyes, he got kicked out. I'm at the beach with my best friend. 3-4 days into it, we're hanging out doing all this stuff, and then Neil had to go home, and it was like Neil's going home, and my mother said, I can't take it. I can't take this anymore. Basically, that's what I heard. In my head, I can't take your friend is bad. He doesn't listen. He's bad or something. And I'm like, Neil's the shit. I don't know what's wrong with you. Neil and I are hanging out. I think I know what the main issue was on my mom's side, but
Let's wait to get there. Let's talk about the trip
but
first.
Neil,
Let's save
Neil
that
gets
all for the
kicked
end.
out of the beach house. I'm still at the beach by myself with no friend now. But
All right, but the trip first.
So, all right. So I remember driving up there, going over that bridge where Dan eventually bought a house.
yeah,
And,
we go to the beach and I saw it.
Did we take a ferry up there?
No, we never took ferries.
Okay,
we
we
always
didn't-
drove.
all right.
Yep. We would go past the Cowboy and Cowtown.
Yes. I remember getting there and being how surprised that it wasn't Ocean City, Maryland.
Ocean City sucks anyway.
Whatever your opinion is, it was smaller. It was really quiet. It wasn't.
It's the old people town.
Yeah, it wasn't.
You're either really young or really old at Stone Harbor. You're not in the middle.
Right. Well, and as young kids, it wasn't like mini golf and go karts and boardwalk and rides.
It was the beach, an animal sanctuary,
Mm-hmm.
and quietness, and you can't go over 24 miles an hour. It's a 3-mile island, and there's nothing else. There's Hoy's 5 and 10, which you can get like pop rock things, like you.
Buzzards, water ice.
Water ice. That was
I
a big
remember that.
deal. That's the thing.
I enjoyed that. That
but
was good
you
stuff.
Probably grew up with money. You've been on cruises and shit. No?
My family, for me growing up, my mom was a nurse and my dad was a union sprinkler fitter, like fire
Okay.
protection in buildings and shit.
They had some money.
And well, they did well until a Republican would go into office, and then my dad would be laid off for 6 to 8 months out of the year, and then things would get tight, and we'd sell the boat. And so, growing up, we would have times of prosperity, doing really well. We would have times where money got really tight. And
My family was like Roseanne.
I see
Yeah.
that now that you say that.
So
So
we were staying at my aunt's house, her aunt's house, my mother's aunt, and she has passed since then. But she had this house that they got for opening a bank account. They gave her property. That's how she got this house, and they sold it for like $7 million, some ridiculous number that nothing is worth that in my eyes. But that house sold. And they lived until they died like kings and queens.
Well, I mean, it was a beautiful house.
It was good.
It was
But
a cool
we didn't pay
old
for
beach
shit because we
house
didn't have
on the
money.
beach.
We
Right.
we were living. I was never hungry.
So I guess where I was going is there would be times where we would be living better than that, and then there was times where it would look better, but it was very Roseanne-like.
This is a bougie kind of place. But we, as kids, we don't see bougie.
No.
We see this is boring. There's nothing happening.
So I remember us doing a lot of hanging out at that little music
Yep,
store.
the music
that was
store.
Kind of like the
Neil
main
and
road,
I
just
were
kind of
playing
making
music.
friends with the dude that worked there. I remember eating deli meats and Munster cheese. Actually, that was the first time I ever had Munster and Longhorn
I
cheese,
can't
which was
believe
amazing.
That. Yeah, I was like,
And I
this
felt
is
like your mom
first-
got mad because I ate
Some-
a lot of the cheese.
Yeah, but that's your first time.
It was good cheese. Not gonna lie.
I was never Anyway, cheeses were great, but I do remember that we didn't go fishing. I don't think. Normally, I fish when I go on vacation. So maybe my mother was like, "Dan's acting weird. He's not fishing." Like I always fish because I'm bored. I didn't have a friend. I brought my friend with me, so I feel like my mother got mad because I was never around the beach house because I'm hanging out with you. We were at the music store. We hung out at the music store for 6 hours, 7 hours, and then. I don't know what else we would do that was a crazy time because time is different.
Well, it was an interesting time for us because we were like young teenagers, but we also weren't getting into anything bad.
Yeah, you can't. And
Like we weren't.
there's
doing-
an arcade. That's it.
That's what I mean. Like we weren't picking fights. We weren't doing drugs, stealing
Yeah.
beers. We
And-
were just playing music
So,
and
so
hanging
what
out.
exactly happened?
What happened, Neil?
Well,
What were you told happened?
well,
My mom got jealous that I had a friend, I think, and she sent Neil home.
that's kind of the nail on the head. You were her little baby, Danny.
Yeah.
And she didn't like
And
that someone was taking
I
away
didn't-
her
Let's
baby.
call her right now. Let's get her on the line.
Well, all right. So it was very
And
confusing.
I'm
to
not
me.
mad at my mother. I don't.
Yeah.
She's always been very kind of like. I am her baby, and it's
Yeah.
great, and I love everything
And
about it.
I'm the youngest of 3, and I'm the youngest by 8 years to my closest sibling. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm little baby Bubba. Like, parents aren't supposed to pick favorites, but I think I might have an edge over my siblings. I just remember, like, I felt bad because I thought I offended your family.
I was told that you were a bad kid.
Well, and I
And
felt
I'm like, he's not. Mom,
Well,
you're lying to me. There's
and
something else.
I don't know if maybe I was just a smart ass teenager. That
were
maybe
a
that
troublemaker.
was
You-
disrespectful,
But
or
but my brothers used to like smack me on the chest and say body glove because I was wearing a body glove shirt. Like we picked on each other. They would
Oh, yeah.
they would put freaking what do you call it, Ben Gay on my arm or my deodorant so that I put Ben Gay on instead of deodorant, and I would be burning. Like that's you didn't do anything like that. You would. My mom might have said something like take the trash out, and you were like take the trash out. I'm not doing that. That's not, what am I? I'm on vacation. Like, but you might have that kind of thing. That's what pisses my mom off. But I don't think that that doesn't validate. Like
I don't think I
I
would have
told
been
Connor
that way.
4 times to do the dishes, and on the 4th time it stuck. I don't know. That shit happens. But like you were a
Yeah.
kid. You didn't when you were younger. Did you take the trash out at your house? No.
Yeah.
No,
No.
really? Did your parents make you when you were in middle school to take the trash out?
Yes, I definitely took out the trash every week.
Okay. Because I've brought friends to the beach where they've never done any of that for themselves. Their mother and father did that, and that's how they lived. You were, I don't know. I feel like there was,
There might have been something, or I might have said something flippant,
but
trying
none
to
of
make
it.
a joke.
I'm
but,
I'm not trying to like validate it, but I feel like I don't want to blame my mother, but you got the shit end of the stick on that because my mom you didn't do anything wrong and you got sent home and your parents had to come get you. That's pretty fucked up.
I don't even remember that.
Your
part
parents.
of it.
So how did you
No,
get home?
that isn't the case. I went home with your dad and your brothers.
Okay. Oh,
Your
she
dad
found
and-
an opportunity.
Your
to get
dad
you
and
to
your
go.
brothers weren't staying the
Still,
whole time.
it's a horse shit.
Well, at the time, I just felt bad because I felt like I did something disrespectful and I didn't know what it was.
And now you're in
and
a
personally,
car
I would
with a
rather
guy
know
that you
what
don't
it
even
was to
know.
learn from my mistake.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. You're in the car. My dad. What would he say to you? Was it
Well,
awkward?
and your dad was cool. Your
My
dad was
dad's
always
great. He's
your
always
dad
been
was
great.
always really cool with me, and I always remember. I
mean,
felt like I always
you're the
get
guy
along
on
with your
stage doing. He's like I'm doing what I watched my father do.
dad. Yeah,
and
and I'm
you're
sure
the-
he was
you're-
always
you know,
very supportive of that.
I'm playing
too.
music
Like,
and I'm up on stage and he would let me play. First song I ever played, Earth Angel, and I think I was in like 5th or 6th grade, and I played Earth Angel on stage in front of everybody at the Columbus Gardens, which is like 60 people, maybe
I remember-
120.
I remember that place.
Earth Angel, doo. But like this is me playing drums at ting 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 ta ting. It's the most simple song you could think of, and that's what I played live on stage. And I was like, I loved that feeling, and I've always been. It's like heroin, like chasing the tail of the dragon for that feeling. But I'm sorry you got kicked out of the beach. And
and honestly, I mean, in
yeah.
hindsight, yeah, that was a good fine amount of time to be hanging out there. I
Yeah,
think
but like
we
you
got
weren't
into all
told.
we were
I
gonna
was
do.
told I could bring him for my vacation, and me and Neil
Yeah.
were like, "Well, we're not going to do everything all at once. Like we got the whole week. We're spacing shit out."
You know what it was? It's because we put the sun in our hair.
No, my mother has put sun in my hair since I was a baby.
I never heard of that before. I was unaware of that until
Really?
we did that.
Huh? I
What is this?
still use sun in.
So there's a product that you used to put in your hair, and then
Peroxide.
and then from being out in the sun, it would make your hair turn blonde. With certain things, I enjoy them, and enjoying them isn't enough. I need to know the sauce. I need to know how to do it. I need to be a part of it. I want people that do it to look at me and see me as a peer. And that's been music for me since I was 10 years old.
I have a passion in what I do right now where things break and they go, well, you better call Dan and get over here to get this shit fixed. Because like I'm the only one in the whole company that knows how to fix a skid steer from like this doesn't work to now it's working just like it should.
That's
And-
impressive.
And I can do that in 15 minutes most of the time. Or I'll show up and like a machine won't start and they're freaking out. They got to cut this. It's concrete. It's drying. Or it's curing. I'm sorry. I got yelled at for that once. Concrete cures. So the concrete's sitting there curing hard and we got to cut it at a certain point. And then they're like, vroom, vroom, vroom. They can't get this machine to start. I show up and I'm like, bum, 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 vroom. And then they're like, that's incredible. And I can do that with most engines and most vehicles. So that's a skill that I've you don't just know how to. I'm not better than anyone else. I have spent the time researching this shit.
Yep.
And I have put it into practice, and I've done it, and I've taught Connor how to. He changed his oil the other day for the first time.
That's not true. I've changed my oil several times.
Why
I
did it
always
take you
change my
5 hours
oil.
to change your oil?
I always change because I had to take off the.
Defend yourself. Here you go.
Dan has showed me a lot of things. My oil is not one of them, but he has shown me a lot of fun things. I always do like to consult Dan whenever I'm doing something, even if it's something that I've done before, because Dan always has really good ideas about a way to do something. It's kind of just like a little bit of wisdom, you know? You should always kind of like find somebody who kind of like...
The old English.
Huh?
It's the old English. You got to put the English on it. You know, you got to come into it from the left. That way that all works,
Well, when it comes to technical things, there is a lot of nuance that comes with experience.
Yeah,
That
making the
saves
tool.
you- that
Making
makes
the
you-
tool last.
Well, and that saves you the time of figuring it out. That saves you the multiple trips to the parts store. Like, there is such a value to people that have that experience and knowledge that I'm good with paying people that are good and know what they're doing, especially with certain things. Like, you got to have a good auto mechanic.
It takes me a long time to do some things because I know the right way to do it.
Yep.
I will say
And
one time
I can't do it wrong.
One time my drive shaft fell off on my car, on my truck,
I
and
remember this very well.
and Dan came down and we worked on it, and it was down in DC, and we got it all working again, didn't we?
He calls me. He's like, I'm on the side of the road. I have the part. I was able to get the part.
I needed a hammer, is what I needed, Dan.
You didn't just need a hammer. You needed
Yeah.
I was resetting bearings inside on the side street of DC.
We were there together. It was nice.
It was 5 hours.
I'm sure it was good to have a friend there with you.
He
honestly,
didn't
I
have
was
any
there.
tools. I loaded the truck
I
up.
had some tools, but I was like, you know what I need?
He did have
literally
a good amount of tools from what I.
I need literally just a bunch of other things. So it was like, I don't know, I need a hammer. I needed
we're
like
doing
another
press.
jack.
I built a mobile press to press this shit together. Like you had
That
to
was
press
crazy.
the bearings in, and
But it
was a mess.
I was
And
really happy.
I've done
for
it
Dan.
so many times that I'm like, well, you're going to need. I'm making him do a lot. I can only go under the car for so long.
Oh, I was
And he
there
was-
all day. I was doing it all day, and then
you worked on it a full day, and then I show up.
Yeah, I was there. I was there trying to. I was like, you know, what'd be great is a hammer, but I have no car to get around. And I'm like, I guess I'll hang out.
Yeah, so I show up and it was just a nightmare of a job, and Connor has never done this before.
That's right.
But I was not going to do all of the work. I need him to know how to do it. So I'm not calling. You get this once, motherfucker. Right? I show up next time. I'm going to bring you a tool and I'm going to go home because you know how to do it. So I made sure he knew every aspect of how to take a drive shaft. What was it? A universal joint.
It was
Replace
a joint. Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, the whole thing saved
That's-
me about $3,000.
People say,
because-
"Why do you hang out with Connor?" I'm like, it's kind of like my son. Like I'm teaching him shit.
But legitimately, it's because I thought it was my differential on my car, and I thought, and just to open it up, they were like, "There's going to be a couple grand just to open the different." And so I was like, "Well, that sucks." Turns out to be a drive shaft, and then it broke right in the perfect spot, and then the entire time,
It's a nice
I'm-
neighborhood,
I'm-
which is hard to find in DC. You know, it's a fucking toilet.
Right, I'm having a bad day, right? But meanwhile,
Neighbors are walking by.
Meanwhile,
Like,
this is
give
the-
us some.
this
We're
is the-
supposed to be playing the podcast out.
this is the best possible scenario, right? Overall, to get the whole car fixed, and it happened, and it only happened because of Dan.
Yeah, and I don't know old stuff, like really old stuff, like the boat. That's a 1981. That's my newest learn. Take me out on this podcast, Neil. Thanks for being here. You said vote. It is our duty to vote.
Go out and vote. Even if you don't vote on president, senate, or whatever, just look at your community initiatives and take pride in where you live.
Do you have to hit the button for idiot or this idiot, that idiot or the or the,
No, you can.
You can hit.
You can only vote on
undecided.
certain things on the ballot. Yes, you don't have to cast a vote on everything that's
Can
on
I
the ballot.
write Obama in?
No, you can't. He already served 2 terms.
But I
he-
can still write him.
There's actually, believe it or not, when they send you the sample ballot, there are other like 8 or 10 actual real write-ins you can put in that category.
Really, you can't.
There's also a Libertarian and a Green Party candidate that's
I'm
on
sure.
the on
Why
the
even
ballot.
do any of that?
Well,
What's the, I guess it's just
I mean,
like running a podcast.
It's a
like
political
it's
circus.
just
It's all-
there.
it's all
many
just a
years ago,
show.
we used to have multiple parties that were viable. And
but they
that
never
was
get
kind of
chosen. It's like
But what I'm saying is 100 years ago, 200 years ago, when we
back in the
created
day.
this democracy, the idea was to have multiple different parties, and just we've managed to boil it down to two,
I just
much to the detriment of America.
yeah. Okay, it's like the Middle River boat show. It's a lights. Middle River has a thing. The boats go. They light. I entered to put my boat in the light show. I'm not a big hitter. I get it. I didn't even get a text back. It says like text this number to put your boat in the light show. I told him my boat. I was like, oh, I want to do something like with the podcast type thing or something, and I got nothing back, which is horse shit. Because they have big money, but why? Even I'm like the Green Party on the thing, the ballot. I'm like the other parties that like, why even put my boat out there? It's nothing. Because I can, because it's America.
Well, just like in politics, you're an outsider.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You're not a member of that community, so you don't have the clout. You don't have the.
Yep. Somebody was like, "Yeah, I know that one. My girlfriend knows the guy that runs or his cousin or something, and that's how I have to get into it." But like, that's going to be next year. I really do want to do, even if it's a Christmas tree, just my boat with lights on it, riding in the boat parade. Because last year we went and watched the boat parade, and I was like, "That's cool. I want to be in it."
I'm gonna get Chinese food.
All right, so just to end this, only a couple of other things other than voting. Go see live music in Baltimore. Go to the 8x10. See some shows there.
Is it customary to tip when you're watching music? Like,
if there's a band and they have a bucket out, and yeah, definitely tip the band.
You put a bucket out.
Don't forget to tip your waitress.
It depends what band you're playing with. You're playing a cover, playing with cover band in a bar, then yeah, you put a tip bucket out. You want to make a request, you got to put some love in that bucket there.
Should I put a tip bucket out for my podcast?
I mean,
it's a cajoon.
I will gladly donate back whatever money you pay me for the podcast. It goes right back into it.
Yeah.
That's how you sustain this beast.